Hi guys, it's a message here from Reverend Crystal Cox, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about the Bringing Back Goddess Church. I believe that the things that a church has to offer in a community are good things, and I don't believe that those good things should be based on whether or not you are of a particular religion or spiritual belief. I do not believe that you should be shunned or outcast in any way because you do not have a particular spiritual belief. There are people in need in every community, and people, of course, need basics such as food, clean water, warmth. Electric bills are so high, they might need help with electric bills. They might need a fundraiser to help them for some particular issue that their family is going through. Most of all, they need spiritual support. They need love thy neighbor. They need people looking after them and people helping each other out. And churches in many communities do this. However, it seems to be based on whether or not you're, say, a Baptist, a Christian, a Jehovah's Witness, a Protestant, or belong to a certain group or church and possibly a certain clique or niche. And at Bringing Back Goddess Church, it is our goal to network all of these churches in a very non-denominational way, a non-judgmental way, but also a deep spiritual way. So instead of just a regular nonprofit that helps people or that might give to people in need, those are very good things for society and for local communities. However, it is my feeling that a spiritual belief is very important. Your connection to spirit, to God, to Jesus, to the Great Spirit, to archangels and angels, to your guides, your higher self. Whatever your spiritual connection is, it is important to have one. And it is important to be nurtured within that and not ridiculed. It is important that you are not being told that you are doing it wrong. If you have a spiritual leader, a pastor, a Buddhist leader, an elder spiritually of any kind that is telling you that you are doing it wrong when you're praying or worshiping or chanting or drumming or whatever you do that helps you connect with spirit, then you need to, in my opinion, remove that person from your life, because your connection to spirit is about how you feel, and there is no particular way that it should be. At Bringing Back Goddess Church, we're about nurturing who you are, who you want to be, and providing a space for you to worship, pray in your way, and to give you support no matter what spiritual belief you are, and to embrace you spiritually. So not necessarily just to give people help with, electric, food, basic housing, alternative medicine stuff, herbs, organics, clean water, clean air, clean soil, all of these issues that are very important to us, but also to help you to have a strong spiritual base and belief, but not point you in a particular direction. Give you information, books, videos, pray with you, study with you, help you to find your bliss and your calling and your truth for you, and not necessarily push you or conform you to a certain way or belief system. I believe that, say, college fundraisers, life coaching, spiritual advising, helping people to learn, whether it be the Bible or Buddhist information or Wiccan, pagan, whatever it is they're trying to learn to be a better them and to seek a higher place in themselves. These folks need nourishment, and they need help, and they need support in the community, and it shouldn't be based, in my opinion, on what spiritual belief you are. So we at Bringing Back Goddess Church are providing a system, under a 501(c), under a church establishment, to support all denominations and to nurture people within their own belief system, and not necessarily, I don't mean necessarily, I mean not alienate people, not separate people, not say you're not, we don't want to connect or associate with you because you're not of our same spiritual belief. You know, we want to provide a space for people to drum and chant, and like Indian tradition and Buddhists and Christians, and pray, and, you know, all different denominations in their way, and not necessarily at the same time, but to come together with meals or fundraisers or functions, and to support each other and truly love thy neighbor regardless of your spiritual belief. You know, your spiritual belief is the most sacred thing there is. I believe you are born with a spiritual connection. I believe that we live many lifetimes in sort of the Buddhist way. I believe that when we die, we have a connection with spirit, right? With God, with Goddess. Whatever we have throughout our lifetime, our connection with spirit, I believe we had before we came into these bodies, and I believe we take with us after. And I don't think that anyone can judge our spiritual connection. I think it's sacred. It's our birthright as humans. It's our right before incarnation and after incarnation here on earth. And I don't believe that we have a right to judge each other for our spiritual belief. It is my belief. I try to help people to nurture their spiritual belief in what is true to them, and to pray and to talk to angels and talk to God and pray to Jesus or in Jesus' name, or, you know, whatever they believe, you know, whether it be, you know, the Southern Baptists or the Catholics or the Protestants or Jewish or, you know, Wiccan or Buddhist or some of the stuff, voodoo priestess, or some of the stuff that I don't even know, you know, that's out there. That I have a broad overview of spiritual beliefs. I've studied, as you've seen my stuff before, Buddhism and pagan stuff. I've studied Jehovah's Witnesses. I've studied Christian. I've studied the Bible. I've studied a lot of New Age and channeled information, and I am intensely spiritual. I have a connection with spirit. I feel like I have a connection with my guides and angels and higher self, and I am in communication with spirit at all times. Everything that I have done in this lifetime, to the best of my ability so far, has been spirit directed. I have ego issues. I have emotional issues with other human beings that I am trying to be a better me always. My spiritual work and my light worker work has led to some spiritual warrior work on the internet, excuse me, and media, to give voice to people who are trying to expose corruption, to give voice to victims who are alone in the dark. That is an intensely spiritual mission to me. I have fought for the First Amendment equality rights of those exposing corruption to have the same rights as big media. I think it is a violation of human rights and civil rights for media to distort the truth and not give a voice to the victims of corruption. Many blogs are the only thing that victims of corruption have as a media source, as an outlet, you know, a publication for them to expose corruption. And there are lots of folks out there who have blogs, who have documents of proof, videos of proof, and they're just shut down. And traditional reporters will not take the story because their lives will be threatened, or their editors shut them down, or basically they're trying to distort the truth or just keep status quo to keep big corporations happy, or politicians, or whatever the reason. So for me, that was a huge human rights and civil rights issue, of which I am still involved in fighting for victims of corruption, victims of human trafficking, victims of small courts and police and corrupt judges and pedophiles, and, you know, organized crime in the porn industry, and how you know, suppressed inventors' rights, and just basic human rights that these folks, mostly it seems to be attorneys, that are violating the system. And you mix attorneys with big media, and you have no rights. And so my court case was spiritually driven. I have worked with my spirit guides, and with God, with Goddess, with Archangel Michael on this case. I have had many things just come to me. I've had dreams and visions. I had visions before the trial, and I believe this to be true. This is a spiritual mission for me, regardless of what anyone says, and I stand in the light. I am on the right side of the law and the right side of the moral compass, and I have never broken the law. I have never extorted anyone. I have never done anything that was dark or evil. Regardless of how many people say it, the truth still remains to be the truth. Anyway, back to bringing back Goddess Church. We are definitely moving forward with a all-denomination church, and hope to do this in many towns across the United States and maybe even other countries at some point. We're going to start with a church in Port Townsend, Washington, and the next will be in Honolulu, Kauai, which I did research on last winter there, and I found some really great places. I've prayed in a lot of places. There's an amazing Buddhist monastery there. There's a lot of Buddhists, a lot of Christians. There's a lot of, the Hawaiian culture is just amazing. It is intensely spiritual there on Kauai, and I love it there. I can't really live there year-round because I am a mountain girl. I like the mountains and the trees, and so I've decided to be there part of the year and Port Townsend part of the year. Once we can afford to have a building in Honolulu, then we will open a second church. For now, we're working on trying to get a church going here in Port Townsend, Washington. And I just wanted to do this message to you folks because when I was in town today, I was seeing some different people, and I was thinking, people, they need support. And they need not to be judged for their spiritual belief. And, just hippies and the earth mamas and the pagans and the gypsies and the wizard types. And then you got the Christians and you got the Buddhists and you got we're all people. And we all have common ground. And we all need love. And we all need to help each other. And if someone has an intense connection to spirit, I want to nurture that, and I want to help them, and I also want to help them with basic human needs, such as helping them pay their electric bill, helping them get food, helping them have child care that's safe, helping people to heal their bodies and their minds, their souls and their spirit, and to nurture them. And I don't want people to have to feel guilt and shame because they're not of one particular religion, or feel like that the only way they can get support and community and help is if they get baptized or if they conform to a certain religion. And so we at Bringing Back Goddess Church are creating something different. And anyway, I just wanted to let you know a little bit more about what the church is about and give you a message on that. And I hope you all are having a great day. And God bless you all, and I will talk to you real soon. Take care.